So welcome to the Voice podcast, the voice of integrity, compassion and empathy. This episode is the raging of the feminine and her voice and everything that she has endured, still endures, and ultimately is rising up to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. And with that, she brings light, she brings truth, she rises and brings the shadows with her. And this has all come from the essence that is Ignite Your Inner Pussy Power, which is about women connecting and embodying their power, not necessarily from a sexual aspect, but more through the deeper wisdom that they are and the society that blocks us from being our true self. And this is rising. It's bringing up the shadows to be seen as they are, to be seen, to be heard, and to no longer continue the cycle of suppression, abuse, and exploitation. So I hope you enjoy. Sit down, relax, get a cup of tea or gin and tonic, whatever it is that you desire. And thank you for listening. Take care. Welcome, lovely souls. Welcome to the Voice podcast, the voice of integrity, compassion, and empathy. And with this episode, this is going to be the voice of the raging feminine right now. Okay, so if you don't like much swearing, I probably suggest maybe just skip along and find another episode of mine instead. So it's really interesting how with the voice of integrity, compassion, and empathy, is about how you can raise your perspective on things, how we can move and how we can raise our vibration and our frequency as humanity, as a collective of individuals. And yet this one is going to be really raw, okay? And rage, unconscious or conscious rage, okay? And it's coming from the feminine. And this is very healing for women, okay? And I'll start from the beginning, why I've suddenly felt the need to make this video, okay? So if you haven't heard about me yet or seen about it yet, I call some workshops called Ignite Your Inner Pussy Power, okay? And this is all about the connection for women to connect to their bodies, to love their bodies, to start to understand the beauty of who they are, not seeking validation outside of themselves, not thinking that their sexuality is what they're worth. Because a lot of the time when we're coming into perimenopause and menopause, things start to shift for women. Women are starting to really come into their power. However, if we're not conscious of it, we see the symptoms of the body. Okay, so this is a real key moment for women to start to understand who they are and start to embody their worth and to see the subconscious patterns, the belief systems, and the unconscious trauma, the generational trauma that runs through the feminine line. Okay, I see this when I'm working with my clients, that it's within our mitochondria. We are inheriting trauma through the feminine line, and menstruation, our women's health, I believe, and I'm researching, that ultimately is coming from that DNA and the expression of that, of trauma that women have experienced. And when I talk about it from an energetic perspective, there's a rising of the feminine now. We are feeling it. Earth is rising, feminine is rising. And this will be within men and women, but women will be experiencing it even more. And as we're starting to see across the globe how women's rights are being questioned and being attempted to be suppressed, this is getting women to start claiming back their power, to find their voice. So this episode is about the voice of the feminine. And I've recently posted Ignite Your Inner Pussy Power, which I'll be doing later on in the summer. And just spread it out on Facebook and different social media. And I have noted that there's one particular person has started to sort of follow me since that, basically. And it landed in my inbox on my professional work page on Facebook. Okay. And at no point on my information talks about sexuality. This is about women finding their power. In fact, I make it very clear that it isn't about this. It's about the generational trauma and women finding their power. Okay. And I know Pussy has such sexual attachment to it, which is most interesting, which I'll come on to in a minute, of why I feel that was being shown to me to put in it, basically, because it was ignite your inner power. And when I came back from Sardinia, it was like ignite your inner pussy power. This is what you have to talk about. I'm like, okay. So this morning, I get this message in my professional work inbox saying that they want a sensual massage with some discretion. And what went through me, and this is why it's important to share what went through me, is because this is the subconscious patterning and the unconscious beliefs that's in our bodies, which is what I can shed light on. So what I felt come through was this instant knock. I was like, oh, okay. It's not so much of an attack, but like an energy, just like a shrinking energy within me, just want to sort of drop back. You actually feel a little bit disgusted as well, because there's that energy of someone is thinking those sort of thoughts with me. There's being pissed off because, like, hang on a minute, at one point have I said anything about this sexuality, or have ever made out on my Facebook page and my different media? It's all very scientific. It's very interesting. It's, if I do say so myself, it's all about understanding ourselves and our bodies. And I get this message, sensual massage. And the never thick voice that came through was like, well, you've brought this on yourself. I'm going to repeat those words. This was my voice, my ego, my altered self telling me, you've brought it on yourself. And I felt myself responding to that, going, oh yeah, I have, haven't I? Yeah, I've put something out there like that. And yeah, of course, I've attracted that. It's my fault. Which again, shame, guilt, the lowest vibrations us women, energy that anybody can carry, but it's specifically linked to trauma and abuse. And I went for the walk with the pooch at the beach, and it's literally like, no, it's not my fault. This is social conditioning that has gone through thousands of years, where the woman has only been seen for what her sexuality, that's her worth, how her beauty, or what, but how sexual they are, because it's men in this world, the masculine, claiming that's her worth. That's her only reason for existence, is how shaggable they are, or basically for their exploitation. And it's like, okay, this is really showing me the patterns. And the fact that it came up from within me, that voice saying, I've brought this on myself. And the instant reaction was like, oh, yeah, it's my fault. I shined my light too brightly. I became too much. And it's my fault. And it's just really interesting how women will, or anybody of abuse or have the wrong attention, takes that discomfort as something that they've done wrong. Something they haven't done. And you talk about this, oh, she was asking for it. Oh, look what she was wearing. She was asking for it. Oh my God. This is what we need to deal with. And so when I was going, oh God, why have I had to be given the word pussy power? Why have I done this? Why have I always got to try and justify this? And I tell you what, it's because it's meant to bring the light to the shadows of our society, the light of what blocks women for stepping into their light and their power, because ultimately we've just been judged by what we look like and our sexuality and what can be exploited. I mean, we can take this to the collective with what the feminine Mother Earth, how much what she can be taken from, the resources and exploited for greed and corruption. I mean, we're really seeing that in terms of drill, baby, drill, and all this exploitation that is attempting to make shitloads of money from, but it's in total destruction. This is the feminine. It has been exploited and abused. And I was getting so much rage, and conscious rage is really important. I have to stress that to you, because women, again, have been told to be the good girl, right? Be quiet, sacrifice your inner peace to keep the peace. All these belief systems society keeps us in. And it's interesting, women will do that too. Women will keep women small as well. You know, like I said, this was a pattern that came up inside my body to tell me it's your fault. You've attracted it. What do you expect? So it's really interesting that we're all carrying this. So this isn't me suddenly going, like, all men are shit or anything like this, okay? Not at all. There's a lot of really good men out there. But what we need to see is more men with that voice for the feminine too. We talk about the rising of the feminine. This is all about equality, justice, harmony, balance. It's not about saying she's any more better than thou. This is about seeking equality. It's about bringing up the truth and all the belief systems, the bullshit that we're carrying, and it's going through our bodies. It's going through our minds. It's literally this temple of truth is coming up to be seen. And I just wanted to share that it's not okay for that person to say that. At not one point have I ever suggested that's what the sort of work that I do. Yet because of that word, which pussy, it has so much emotion attached to it. And it's just interesting. What makes that person think they're entitled to send that message to me? What in their psyche is thinking that's okay? And we really need to get into the level of that position of entitlement, the masculine energy, the position of entitlement that I can do this, I can say this. I mean, this is on social media, so all I have to do is tell them to fuck off, right? It's like, piss off, not interested, okay? Block, done. But people have to deal with this face to face. They have to deal with this in society. Our children are having to deal with this, young girls, young boys, that all is exploitation. And, we need to really start addressing this. And I've done a lot of work myself to be in a position and go, okay, I can start to see the higher perspective. So actually that message is a blessing to me because it's showing me what BS systems is actually inside me, in terms of that I believe it was my fault, that's something I'd done to attract that. That's a whole load of social condition that women have been told, or shouldn't be walking home at night. They shouldn't have gone there. No, that's not her problem. That's not her fault. It's the person who thought it's their entitlement to be able to do that. This is where society is going wrong. There's so much wording in terms of, what was it, the poor Epstein lady committed suicide, what she called the Prince Andrew accuser. No, she was a victim of abuse. She wasn't an accuser, she was a victim of abuse. Okay, let's look at the wordings of how media is always trying to blame back on the female. Okay, we really need to start waking up and seeing the light for what it is and start calling it out. And this is men and women. Okay, and this isn't, like I say, an attack on men. but it's highlighting what is wrong, fundamentally wrong in our society. It's the shadows of our society. And we need to start seeing them. And it's really easy to fall into judgment and separation because of the emotion of it. We also then need to be able to shift out of that and be able to go, right, here's a whole shitload of shadows. How do we actually heal this and alchemize it? Because what's happened, it's just been shoved under the carpet and just held. And that judgment with shame just gets put under, but it's never gone away. And the carpet's really frigging lumpy now, okay? And we're seeing when you have the likes of Andrew Tate and you've got Trump, they're all like abused and sexual abusers, how they can be in such huge positions of power and money and influence. How is that happening? And what that does, it gives the green light for all this shit to come up. Because all of a sudden they feel like there's less shame to be doing this. I can be this now. Okay. So we're never getting rid of it until we call it out, until we stop the judgment and start to go, why do you think like that? Where's the entitlement come from? Why are you? So we need to start asking these questions and becoming conscious of this, because it's then that we start to raise this frequency, to raise humanity. Then we start to heal these really old patterns so they don't happen again. So we need to get into the nitty gritty, and the fear of judgment will always keep it locked down in shame. So somehow we have to find a compassionate space, even though we may be triggered, to go, what is it that is calling you to act in that negative way? I mean, a simple thing, I put a post out, just like a sort of little bit of a video of my feet out into nature, saying about the importance of grounding, okay? How you can have free electrons, healing, reducing inflammation by just getting barefoot on ground. I don't normally get many comments, but all of a sudden I've got comments about, oh, put those feet away, I'm just like, hang on a minute, this video is talking about healing. I'm not here asking you to judge what my feet look like or what your anything's like, but they've spent the time to put a negative comment in. Just scroll on if you don't like it. But why are you having to think, I'm going to put the energy in and effort to make something negative? To potentially know that that's not going to be very received by the next person very well. And a lot of the time these messages, I just go, oh, okay, right, I don't respond, don't want to give it my energy. At the moment, I'm like, I just really want to tell everyone to fuck off. Okay. So, and this is like the conscious rage coming out, which is so beautiful. Okay. Conscious rage is the voice that says, you're worthy of so much more. I'm equal. I deserve better. So when we try and stop women feeling angry and all that, because, you've got to be the good one, the good girl, the peacekeeper, fuck that. You've got to let your anger rage. Let it out. Let it, but do it in a conscious way. Let that anger out. Let yourself be angry. Because that voice is telling you deserve better. And it might not be a voice that you've ever heard before or ever felt you could hear. But it's there, it's in you, and it's wanting to be heard. And this is the rising feminine. And it's really interesting how we are in. So May is moving from liver, spring, is shifting into summer, which is heart. So this is heart and liver coming together. And liver is anger. Yeah. And wood, and heart is fire and air. Okay, so this is a combination. Okay, and purifying, purifier. Okay, purifying ourselves with the fire of rage. So we're bringing the element of the wood and we're letting it light up, because we are letting ourselves burn the shit down that no longer serves us purpose or joy, that blocks us from our power, our love, our beauty, our worth, everything that we are here. And we are not here just to please men, just to gratify them in sex. and looking at our bodies. This is not the power of the feminine. Yes, women are beautiful. Yes, they have really gorgeous bodies, but they're not here for that. They're here to bring life to earth. They're here to bring peace and harmony to earth. They are the power. They are the alchemizers. They are the wound healers. They are the ones that will bring this fucking segmented world together. This is the power of the feminine. She can reach higher levels of consciousness. This is the power of the feminine. She has much higher abilities. She can connect into consciousness. This is the power of the feminine. Okay? But what women have forgotten that. And what they've done is absorb the bullshit over and over and over again, thinking it's their fault, thinking it's their issue, just absorbing the anger, absorbing the rage, the abuse, the shame, the guilt, the unworthiness. That is not hers to carry, and she ain't carrying it anymore. And I am seeing this coming up, and this is hugely healing for us. So this is part of our healing that we cannot avoid. Okay, we cannot avoid this. And it's really interesting because hot flashes and a lot to do with the liver and hormone and estrogen regulation comes to the liver. And if that liver is just sponged all of this negativity, we're going to be getting issues and symptoms. So yeah, you have to feel your rage. And we need to start having conversations about all the BS systems and the conditioning that's in our world that plays and shrinks the feminine. So women can't step in their power. I mean, we're still arguing equal pay. And we're arguing like pro-life and medical care, and we're seeing female genital mutilation in the UK, and we're seeing it across the world. We're seeing young girls being caged, strewn across Iraqi streets, and then burnt in a cage because they will not bow down to be sex slaves. What the fuck is going on? Okay, this has to stop. It has to stop. This entitlement that women or girls, children are there to be exploited. Our earth is to be exploited. This is where we need to stop. And this is what PussyPower is. It's about being the voice of the feminine, to no longer continue this BS systems, these ways, these patternings, this abuse, being unheard, being unseen. She's rising up and she's going to be heard. So what would I suggest from this very point? Well, one, I'm going to go and do some boxing because that's going to help me process this rage out of my body, because there's no point just holding it in there. We've got to be able to move it through. So that boxing, breath work, movement will just help me release from this. So I'd imagine after doing that, I'll be much more calmer and peaceful state. But I've honored my emotions. I've honored my anger. I've not gone, oh, I can't deal with that. Fuck it. No, I'm going to let it come out, and I'm going to speak it. I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm going to put it out there and hope everybody bugger's going to read it, listen to it. And, so boom, there we go. It's really powerful. It's like the flames all that come up to clear us of all our stagnancy that really isn't needed and wanted and serving anymore. So where do we go from there? If this has fired you up, go and do something. Go and do some movement. The liver likes movement. So get out, move, and scream if you need to. It's really good to be able to open up the voice, to allow it to move through. This is depression, the throat chakra, just not being able to speak because, one, you weren't allowed to speak, you weren't allowed to vote, and two, you weren't listened to either. And you weren't listened to by women and men. This is a society, social condition and patterning that has held and continued exploitation and abuse to continue as it does. Okay? So get out, get walking. If this has fired something up in you and that makes you want to talk about it and share yours, Do that too. Share your experiences. Realize that you're not no longer going to carry any shame or guilt. It's not you. Like those words, you brought this upon yourself. No, I did not. I am not responsible for somebody else's reaction and their way of behaving. I am not. This has kept women small for so long, and this needs to stop. So yeah, I know why now it's called PussyPower, because it's so there that it will bring out all the shit. It'll bring out all the light too. You can't have one without the other. So I can see why it's there. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but it's going to be calling out our shadows so women can step into their power. And it's really interesting how I'm seeing the relationship of what it is with men as well. And this is also, if you're a man listening to this, if you have daughters, wives, sisters, mums, know that this is what they go through. And wow, I'm feeling really emotional now. Listen to them. Just listen. Because they've either experienced it themselves in some form. It could be like child abuse, rape, inequalities at work, discrimination, misogyny, just the whole like way men talk. That, you know, it makes you want to shrink. It makes you want to curl in. And so listen to them, have a conversation. And if for some reason you've got this far and this is making you feel very judged, which is probably making you feel angry, sit with that. Don't project your anger onto me. All I'm doing is holding the mirror up right now. So look in the mirror. Don't project your anger, judgment on me. See it, feel it, and ask the question, why do I feel like this? Why do I think like this? And you will also be carrying the trauma through your feminine line, from your mother's trauma. You'll be carrying that. And it may have been how you were treated as a child, maybe. Maybe there was, maybe you've got mother wounds, like, you know, a lot of women. If they've experienced this trauma, they're not true in their hearts. They will become blocked and restricted in their hearts. And you may not have seen it as much as love as you would have needed as a child. Maybe she was carrying so much hatred towards men that you've experienced it and absorbed that yourself. There could be many reasons, really. But you need to also ask yourself, do you want that to change? Do you want to continue to feel anger, hatred towards women, and expectation from them? What is it that you feel you want to keep small? Why do you want to do that? A lot of the time it's understood that men fear women laughing at them, thinking that they're small. So what they do is they crush them first. So yeah, the first question is actually, do you want to change? Or do you want to stay in anger and hatred? Or do you actually really deep down desire a real loving relationship? Do you want to be seen? Or are you too scared to be seen? What are you carrying that means a whole load of shame and guilt and fear within you? So don't project that onto anyone else. This is yours to deal with. And I know it's hard. but it's yours to deal with. And this all comes down to choice. What do you desire? Because, yeah, that you might get a kick of anger and a kick of joy of feeling better for doing that. Not really, because then a whole load of shame and guilt will still be there. So it's always up to you to make that journey, to make that choice. And know that this will no longer continue. It will no longer be accepted. And the more you can feel less shame and less judgment and allow yourself to heal, you could have so much more joy, so much more love, which is what we all desire at any point. We all desire unconditional love, to be seen, to be heard, to be valued, to be respected, to be equal. So in one way, you'll be carrying victim energy, most likely through your mitochondria DNA for your mother, yet you've twisted it and become the perpetrator. But you still think you're the victim. So take a long, hard look and try and move through judgment yourself. This isn't about just staying in shame. This is about you trying to understand why you think and act the way you do, and why you harbor so much anger, and why you feel you have to act the way you do to make yourself feel better. And which is ultimately fear. So you'll never experience unconditional love is what you're really seeking by always acting in that way. So try and hold some compassion for yourself. Even though you've done things such, negative things, this is the only way that we can ever get through this. And yes, it's hard to find that compassion. And then forgiveness of self. Forgiveness is huge. It's forgiveness for all of us. We forgive ourselves, we forgive others, but it doesn't mean it's saying that it's acceptable. That's the real key. Forgiveness is just accept that behavior and carry on. It is not at all. It's about enabling to set yourself free from all these emotions that no longer serve you. But you have to have felt the rage. You have to have felt the grief. And then from that, you take the lessons and the learnings, and then there's that final act of letting go. So there's much we can do about it. And this is really comes from my heart that we need to make these big changes in this humanity, in this world. And it begins from above, from ourselves first. And I just dearly hope that for you who have listened to this, in some way activate something in you that is needed right now to your highest and greatest good. And if you can take moments of time to reflect and just be curious, be compassionate with what comes up. So, yeah, it's interesting. Felt so much rage, and now I feel so tearful, which is the grief. I'm going through this process with you right now. So you're just witnessing that. Because, yeah, it's sad. Incredibly sad that this happened. I really just stop it. So it's a calling for those that listen to take that aligned action to with your heart, and whether it's to feel anger, whether it's to feel rage, to hear that voice for yourself, to know that you're worthy of so much more. If there's judgment, shame, and guilt, just start allowing yourself to let this move through you. So I'm just going to finish this now for my own good. And so we don't feel so raw and open heart-ended with our hearts, but we're just going to bring our hands to our heart, so right over left. Take some breaths, feel our feet upon the ground. And we're just going to thank our hearts for its wisdom, for their innate wisdom, these insights, this higher perspective that comes from a foundation of love, unconditional love. Allow our hearts and thank our hearts for being this foundation to enable us to be able to process emotions that no longer serve us, purpose or joy. Whatever this may have heard or listened to, brought up within you, this is about just holding that sacred space for yourself to process. Just imagine your heart's like a beautiful lagoon, it's just expanding. Imagine you're just receiving these beautiful waves in that lagoon, that gentle pulse, and expansion and contraction. Each time you may feel a resistance or restriction, just breathe to it. Breathing in the light of compassion for self. It feels like a golden light that's just meeting the inside of your breath, the inside of your lungs. Letting go. And we're just thanking our bodies, our hearts, for the discernment of what is pure and what is not. What is ours and what is not. What is love and what is not. And to do it with ease and grace. To no longer resist our truth, that is unconditional love. And thanking our bodies for processing that in whichever ways most ease and grace and comfort. And to be aware of anything that may present itself to you in the next day or coming days. This higher perspective, this self-awareness, maybe like revelations that may come through. I often call these the wet kipper moment. You've just been slapped around the face with a fish. Like, oh my word, how could I have not seen that before? And now I see it and I can't unsee it. So just feeling into that, trusting that all is well. Ka ki ka shoki a mokaia, sikia mokoi aia mokaia. That's just some beautiful healing codes just to welcome into your heart with ease and grace. So be it. And just bring your hands together like a little prayer against your heart, like so. Tears are just pouring out. This is the body processing and releasing. So I'm just honoring that. And again, with yourself, just whatever happens for you, whatever comes through, just honor that too. With love, beautiful souls, thank you for listening.